welcome everybody to another Interviews with Experts here with Bold Statement Marketing. I've got with me today a friend from 10 plus years ago. I met this guy a decade ago when we were working together, and he was already in, and I was a newbie. I was a newcomer in a company that was called Liberty League International. I know some of you watching this and who follow my blog posts and all that remember certainly Liberty League. It was a major, dare I say, movement in the direct selling industry. It kind of broke the mold, and a lot of people made a lot of money and really reshaped their perspective of what's possible for themselves in their lives and, of course, as an entrepreneur. And I remember this was back in 2002 when I was fresh in this company. There were 3 people that were really making their mark, like really doing tremendous. And I sought out these 3 people to, hey, what are you guys doing? Give me the secrets. Of course, I knew it wasn't secrets, right? Because I had already been into some personal growth stuff, and I know you just got to apply yourself and have some integrity, and you could duplicate the results. But one of those guys I've got with me here today, and his name is Dave Kozak, and he's coming at us live from the United States up in Minnesota. Dave, there you are with your fireplace. Are you cooking up some wood? Are you trying to stay warm up there? It's the middle of summer. What's going on over there?
John, I'm surprised I'm in Minnesota. Life takes you down different paths, but I'll be back to Arizona very shortly. I'm looking to see you back there in a couple of months, but I can't believe it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Just absolutely flew by, and what a journey it's been, man. That was a movement. That was a couple of guys that got together and just decided to create something that I don't think any of us knew back then, 10 years ago, how big that was really going to get. I mean, it went around the world and then some. The thing was amazing.
Yeah, you know what? And we're seeing some of that starting to duplicate now, finally, after all this time. We're going to talk about this later in the video. But Dave, our paths obviously crossed back then. And you gave me, I don't know if you remember the bit of advice that you gave me, but there was actually some instructions, some directions that we had when figuring out how to become successful in that business. One of the instructions was to find 3 people, and I remember this because I got like this photographic memory. Find 3 people and ask them what are the things that you do to build your business. And you were one of those people, okay? And you gave me this advice, and it stuck with me ever since because you were so relaxed and confident about it. You said, just expect it and keep showing up. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, that stuck with me, and that evolved into a lot of people remember. You probably remember. I had basically published or promulgated these 5 principle-based activities that you got to do if you want to be successful in your direct selling business. And number 5 was to cultivate the expectation of leadership for yourself and others. And that came from that statement that you said, and then of course observing how that actually showed up in people's activities or lack of activities. So in that way, man, you're one of my mentors. Thank you, Dave, for what you've done. We've since gone separate ways. What have you done with your life? What are you doing now?
I've been in network marketing since I was 16 years old, and I'm 39 right now. And I've seen just about everything. I've seen some great, solid programs, and obviously we see nowadays, currently on the internet, it's the wild, wild west. It's just every new thing comes out literally every 3 or 4 days, the new launch, this and that. And there hasn't been much that I've been attracted to in a long time. My wife is involved heavily in a company called Visalis. She's doing the whole 90-day challenge thing, and I'm working that with her. But recently, I got very excited about the Empower Network.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching these guys, and it's been really wild. I've been actually, I looked at it in November, chose not to get started. And I'm kind of, I'm kind of glad I did. I don't really want to go through a startup with growing pains and, some of the challenges. But, the last couple of months, I just kept watching these guys. And I actually jumped in about 10 days ago. And so here we are with something that I believe can bring back that culture that we had 10 years ago.
That is so huge. Let me just jump in. You mentioned, first, let's go back to Visalis for a second. I've had my eye on that company for months. They've got some of the best PR, some of the best marketing. I mean, Hulk Hogan and people all, man, it is like a game show over there. It is spectacular what's going on. And I know a bunch of friends who also knew us from Liberty League, and of course the flock had scattered. And some people are in there and they're really loving the challenge and of course the product. And once again, the marketing is just stellar. But now looking at what's working now, okay, to build, let's say, a company like ViSalus or Amway or whatever you want to sell, right? Or not network marketing, something completely unrelated. What's working now? And you bring up the Empower Network. I just got all in yesterday. I mean yesterday, man. So, and you're like the fourth person I've heard from just by happenstance that like, oh yeah, I just got started last week or 2 weeks ago in your case. Okay, now I heard about this November, October, whenever it launched, almost a year ago. And I got blasted with all the, the spam and the people saying, oh, this is the greatest thing, and kind of treating it like a money game, which I mean, how much, every 2 weeks I get another pitch from the person from a different deal, right? They go from deal to deal to deal, and that's the last thing I need. I mean, guys like you and I like to acknowledge the old school, right? You find something that has some purpose and you have some passion about it. There's some principles at the core of it. And, you stick it out, right? You do it. You actually partner up as if it was your program, your name that you're putting out there. Like there's some weight to that, credibility. And I find that a lot of that seems to be lacking in the Wild West right now. And wherever you are in the world listening to this, you can picture like Tombstone and the OK Corral. And that's what it seems like on the web. And so I wasn't looking to jump into something that, I didn't know David Wood, David Sharp. They seemed like nice enough guys, but I saw all the people going like, nah, 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 nah. And then I saw the sales pitches like 100% commissions. Is that, how do you pay 100% commissions, right? And obviously that's, there's the pass ups and all this too. Everybody gets paid, and there's some wonderful leverage now that I've really looked deeper into it. But what was it for you, Dave? Because I just recently did days worth of due diligence on this. What was it for you that said, okay, now this is it. We're gonna recreate that community, that movement, and the venue is going to be Empower Network. What was that for you?
Well, there are a couple of things. First of all, we've got old buddies that we've known, and we're seeing that they're just tearing it up. They're making $20,000 a month, $50,000 a month plus, and they've been there for less than 6 months to make that type of income. So that got my attention. But then to realize that they didn't have to start over every month, there was actually a true residual component. That got my attention. I like listening to David Wood. I like how he's kind of real. The guy doesn't do, let me put on the tie and let me just, try to make it look polished and hope that, you guys make sure you see that I got a Rolex and make sure that, I park the Benz just right and the angle, and just seemed like a real cool guy, a different way of marketing. And I think it was kind of a refreshing alternative to what I've been seeing out there. And other than that, I actually dug into the product. I wanted the product to help my wife build ViSalus, because I found out there's some people in Empower that are killing it over in ViSalus and vice versa. So I said, all right, I'm in for that reason. But the Inner Circle product has just been worth its weight in gold. It's great personal development. You and I are junkies for personal development. It's hard to find real good stuff. And so far, I've been loving it.
Yeah, that's great. You see, I've got a couple of books. I've done a little reading over the last couple of decades. But the idea of here's and for people who weren't in Liberty League, this may seem foreign to you, so just deal with it. But here's what I think. Back in those days, okay, we're talking 10 years ago, and this is before Australia ever heard about it, before the whole people started losing their mind and the whole debacle and everything went down. Okay, back when it was a very purpose-based thing and people had their heart in it, there was everything people needed to succeed based on what works in direct sales in a 20th century model. Okay, we're talking the 1900s. Now, of course, Liberty League started in 2001 and had a great run for years after that. But as the internet kept growing and evolving, and becoming more like a network marketing company. Really, when you think about social media didn't exist in 2002. People had never heard of all these things. They spend half their day now doing social media and blogging and all this stuff. I had to look up blog. The first time I heard blog, I didn't know what it was, right? So it's completely changed. The face of marketing has completely changed. So anyone who was with us in Liberty League, and if you were a latecomer, then you didn't know Dave because he had made his departure before a lot of the later stuff happened. But think about this. Think about everything that we loved about that community, that culture, that personal growth, that increasing one's own ability and value, coupled with, here's a 21st century marketing platform and the know-how. Okay, it's not just go do income producing activities. It's do this, 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 and this in the digital realm to grow your business cold market, which is how, Dave, you and I mean, I'll speak for myself. You can correct me if I'm wrong in your case, but I built my business cold market. It's not like I had a ton of warm market people to say, hey, you know, come on in here and, you know, this is going to be great. I mean, what was my background? I had sold cars. I was in the music business. So what does that mean? I know, you know, broke musicians and pissed off, you know, car salesmen. I didn't know. No, this is a very rich, warm market. So I went into the cold market with flyers. I mean, you remember that? Remember we were putting out flyers on cars? And I'll never forget what the flyer said, right? It was talking about making $4,000 a week. Call the 800 number. Ran that for years. Made millions, right? So that's cool. Okay, can we do that without, you know, the manual labor and running around the desert, you know, Tucson and Phoenix, Arizona in 100 degrees in the summertime? Yeah, we can. We can. But the internet, like you said, the Wild West, the tricky realm, here's a company that says, here's what's working now. Sell whatever you want. Sell by sell. Sell, you know, whatever you know. Shannon's working with RX, right? Great company. Me personally, I'm not an MLMer, but that's something spectacular that she can now use this technology to go and sell. And then, of course, the accompanying, like you mentioned, the inner circle calls. I'm just getting my head into this now. There's a lot of value there, Dave. A lot of value.
Well, John, when you think back to how we did that with those little yellow cards, those little yellow cards worked. I mean, sometimes you'd have to put out 10,000 to make, you know, a couple of sales. But can you imagine putting that type of effort into something like this with Empower? What would actually happen? It would be ridiculous. Number one, all you'd have to do is your website. They watch that presentation, and I don't know where your numbers are at because we're both just getting started, but I've never seen something so easy to get people to sign up. Obviously, the barrier to entry is as low as it could possibly ever go, $25. They get in the door, and then David Wood and David Sharp are so good at taking it from there, where we don't have to grind, and we don't have to, you know, do all these three ways and here talk to John. John, see if you can get him to see the big picture. It's so automated that, you know, our lifestyle is just so much elevated. I think the reason people join MLM is because they really do want a residual income. And I really feel, even though we've only been here 10 days, I really feel we have the potential for a residual that we've never even dreamed of before. I really feel that with Empower.
I'm feeling empowered. I know that's probably the hokiest thing to say, but I am actually feeling empowered just going through. I mean, here's what I did for my due diligence. I actually enrolled. I bought the $25 thing, and people, to compare this to top tier direct sales like what we were doing with Liberty League and what other companies have attempted to do. Liberty League was $22,485. I've got that number burned into my brain forever. $22,485. This whole program, the whole damn thing, is $1,625. The whole thing, everything, and you could start for as little as $25. But clearly, to get all the training, everything, it's a $1,600 program. Okay, that being said, and by the way, I expect that price is going up rather soon. So if you're seeing this interview now and you're not already in Empower Network, you may want to take action sooner rather than later. But what I'm seeing is the value is there in equal capacity as what we were doing 10 years ago for 10 times the amount of money. I mean, it is that these guys have over-delivered that much. So my due diligence was go in there, pick this thing apart, look past the lack of polish, because, you know, you and I, we're old school. We're kind of old codgers here. You know, you fix your shirt, right? Do your hair, right? You might not have to park the Mercedes at exactly the right angle. I mean, we're not, you know, it's not about being ostentatious or trying to sell everybody. We know we're not going to sell everybody. Frankly, we don't want to, right? What a burden. But looking past the, you know, lack of wardrobe and aesthetics into what's the real mission? What's the underlying foundation here? And I was blown away. Okay, so perhaps, now that the people with a bit more, how should I say it, a bit more apparent learnedness, and I'm not looking to be braggadocious or anything, but the people of higher, I'll just put it this way, high IQ people, because when I first looked at that presentation, I was like, come on, secret loopholes of magic systems and stuff like this. I'm like, man, I've heard so many sales pitches, but think about, you're talking about the conversions and how easy it is to enroll people with this, not just because of the low price point, but because what's been happening on the web. A ton of, guru celebrityism, and now give me $2,000 and I'm going to show you the secrets, and people have gotten dumbed down. This is a refreshing alternative. What did I see Dave in one post called himself the Guru Slayer or something? And I'm just like, yes, because how many people have an aptitude to learn all the different algorithms of Google and the different stuff? I'm like, man, I'm not even that interested. I'm a philosopher, man. I'm a friggin' salesperson. Okay, what I'm not is an internet marketing guru. I'm not. Me personally. And you and I, we've already made millions in home-based business. Okay? We know how to sell. We know how to communicate. We know the value that we're offering people. We know how to transfer that enthusiasm. What I'm looking at is brushing up on 21st century methods to initiate that conversation, to reach into the public, and to once again grow any business, whether it's Empower or other things that you and I are working on, right? You've got Visalis, Shannon's got RX, etc., to grow those things organically and in the cold market, not dragging grandma to meetings that she doesn't want to be at and all that kind of stuff.
It's so nice to be a part of a group where leadership, the ownership of the company, is so fine with you doing whatever you want to do, because that's very rare. I've actually never experienced that before. I'm used to, you can only ride one horse, that old stuff. We don't, that kind of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with multiple sources of income. I think Empower has got the potential where it gets people where they're using something else, but it becomes so easy that all of a sudden. It reminds me of my friend Tony Rush. He wrote something in an email a few weeks ago saying, I joined for $25 like 8 months ago because I needed to sharpen my skills on marketing. I had no idea at the time it was going to surpass $200,000. That's just awesome. I mean, I think it's stuff like that that takes guys like you and me from that old high-tier world and say, wow, this is something that we can feel really good about. And also, you come in at $1,600 all in. Your first sale pays you back. I mean, that's unheard of. That's really, really sharp. It's a lot better than what we used to do with, back in the day with what we were doing at Liberty League. You come in for $23,000 and your first sale is not paying you back.
No. Well, top tier is on life support, and there's a few reasons for that. 2UP is pretty much done, although I know that there's a company right now that I got pitched on a bunch of times as well, who's attempting a low-ticket 2UP, and attempting, in fact, to compete with Empower Network. But nothing's got the traction that this thing has gotten in such a short period of time, other than, like, money games and stuff. They'll always get traction, pyramid schemes and stuff like that. It's easy to sell. But because, again, the dumbing down of the public has been going on for a while. But this is something where people can get real value. I mean, right now, I'll tell you right now, I've spent more than $1,600 on internet marketing training with zero comp plan. I was the customer. My participation was the customer. I get to give them money. And that's the end of the transaction, right? So here, yeah, you want to be an affiliate, extra $19 a month, takes care of all your back office, all your credit card processing, everything done. You break even your first sale. Come on, can you sell one using the best converting sales funnels on the web right now that appeal directly to your ideal audience? That's pretty interesting. So, Dave, I'm excited to witness what happens next. And you recall some of the stuff we did. Maybe you could just mention that before we wrap this up. What were some of the highlights of that you saw that grew our businesses strong before in this space? What were some of the things that you did or that you saw me do? Let's go back. Let's reminisce 10 years, 8 years ago.
Yeah, I was really fortunate enough to be a part of Liberty League from day one, where there were like 6 of us that started that company, and we honestly didn't know what the hell we were doing. We made a couple of bucks with the travel deal before that, but we didn't know what we were doing. We were just we were truly ignorance on fire. But we went out there and we just decided to make it happen. And we did. Our marketing was so high tech that we would put things on your windshield wipers, and it would say, if you think it's too good to be true, don't call. We really postured them. But when you came over about a year later, you had a drive in you that really no one else had. I mean, you just basically said, these people are doing it, I'm doing it. You wanted out of that dealership. And I just remember you're just like, I'm going to get a Lexus. I'm going to get a Lexus, And I just remember you pulling into the Viad, and, all these people are like, wow, he did it, and he's brand new. And something just lit up inside of you, and the fire it didn't stop. It just kept going and going and going. And then, what was it? Okay, 2001 we started. 2002, I beat out, Steve Lenton was the top guy for 2001. I was the #1 earner for 2002. And then 2003, had a good year, but my ego started getting nice and big, like it does sometimes when you're new money. And then by 2004, hey, I got to go start my own company. I did that thing. Had 4 years of high blood pressure and stress from doing that. But I had to get it out of my system, so I did it. And then, took a little time off of network marketing and looked at what was out there and looked at some MLMs. But, I have never seen the culture that we created back there, that you and Shannon did so much with. It was very unique. And I think that's what people are looking for. I think we're always going to be looking for something like that. And you know what? Ever since that, we've seen people try. There's been other high-tier programs. But for whatever reason, they're like these little tiny boutique operations, little tiny conferences, basically like 2 limos would basically drive around the island. And I mean, you were responsible for thousands and thousands of people to go to these things, and that was fun. And I'm really excited because I believe that Empower is going to be doing that. I mean, San Diego that's coming up, I heard there's going to be like 2,500 people there. So we're getting back to that energy level that we once had, and that's exciting for me.
Yeah, it's exciting to me too. The fact that that audience exists, okay, that people haven't given up on their own potential, and that there is a venue, right? There is a place for people to be heard who have that sort of a message, right? And whether it's my voice or you or people who are already in the program, who are already doing as much money as we were doing in the heyday of high ticket, but they're doing it with residual, right? So we had the culture, and you remember the black belt marketing calls and all that stuff. By the way, I still do it's called Black Belt Mentoring now. I still do. I've got the Black Belt Mentoring course, and I do the Black Belt Mentoring weekly broadcast, which is being hosted now by another company. Remember Jay Kubasek, right? His company, ProU, they're hosting the Black Belt Mentoring. So people loved that stuff, right? Because what it did for people, right? The actual value of it for people, that venue exists again. That is so damn cool, right? But now with residual income, it's not, okay, great, it's the first of the month. Put a gun to your head. You're starting at zero again, right? Do it again. I did that for 7.5 years, man. 7.5 years. So anyway, we can go on and on and on. Look, the bottom line is this was an impromptu little interview with me and my buddy Dave. If you're seeing this and you know one of us, then contact one of us. If you don't know either of us, contact either of us. And the bottom line is right now something big is brewing in the direct selling and affiliate marketing industry. Okay, because when we talk about Empower Network, it's like a hybrid affiliate marketing with direct selling. I couldn't really classify it as like MLM. It's strictly one level, 100% commission to one person. So it's not really MLM, but it's got the leverage of MLM. It's friggin' brilliant, and it teaches you how to sell whatever you want. So this turned into an Empower Network conversation because that's what's on our mind, but we were giving it to you real. And so there's a link. Click on the link. Check out the Empower Network. And, of course, you can always reach us on our personal details. You can catch me on Skype and Dave on Skype as well. So, Dave, any closing comments, sir?
No, just one thing on the black belt call. I remember I would tell someone to get on your call back. And, when you started doing it in 2002, and they would say, well, it's Monday night. I don't know. My wife and I, we like to watch Survivor. I said, well, I know that you're struggling and you're just trying to survive, so why don't you try something else out? Just one time. And if I could get someone to get on your call one time, man, they were hooked. You remember, that call, it didn't have to have a topic. It didn't have to have any type of theme. It was just people that were operating at a very high vibration, coming together, talking about life and talking about what we're doing, what's possible, and what's happening right now. It was an awesome call. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you, man. And that call ran for years and years and years. And in fact, it's still running now in a different form as a broadcast on the web. So I'm excited about what we're going to be able to do. Look, bottom line for everybody, something big is brewing in the direct selling affiliate marketing industry. Okay, so click on the link that's in this video or somewhere around this page or wherever you find a link and find out what's going on here with the Empower Network. So Dave, thanks again, man. We will see everybody in another Interviews with Experts episode here in Bold Statement Marketing. Make it a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.